Hello, everyone. It's Amy from Seriously Sweet on Davis Street. Give me just a second because we were connected to be able to broadcast straight into the frosting group, but I think someone disconnected us. So let me just see if someone can grab it real quick and share it, okay? How are you guys doing tonight? It's so exciting to see you. Hold on just a second. Oh, how is everyone? All right. It looks like you guys are finding me, but I'd really like to also put you onto the Frosting Creators of San Antonio page. Hold on just a second. I'm texting Melinda. So if you're on my page and you know Melinda, send her a quick text and ask her if she can grab it and share it into the group. Hold on just a second. All right. I love technology, don't you guys? It's so much fun.
Hey, Amy.
Hey, Marlon. I am trying to get us over to the other page because somehow the streams, it says someone disconnected the stream to the Frosting Creators San Antonio page. So I'm trying to go get them to pull it over.
Hey, Nadine. Bobby. Hello. Teresa. Hello. Colleen. Oh, Jeremy's here. Jennifer. Hello. Rebecca.
Hi, guys.
Margie.
Hey. Oh, thank you for putting those up.
Hey, everybody. Welcome.
All right, guys. Let's see. Let me just waiting to hear from Melinda to see if she got us pulled over. If anybody is on the Frosting Creation San Antonio page, let me know if she's got it shared over there yet. Hey, Sally. And Barbara, I'm feeling so much better. Little teensy bit of joint pain from that second vaccine shot, but totally worth it. And in most cases, the Tylenol arthritis is taking care of it. So we're working on that. I'm just waiting to hear back from Melinda.
So it's saying a message. It said that it was not. It has to be. It looks like the broadcast was deleted on Facebook. Try creating a new broadcast.
I think they can just grab it from my page and share it, though. So we're going to see if that works.
Yes.
I think it might be on the other page. Let me just flip over there and look real quick. And then we're going to jump right in and get started because this is such a fun project. I don't want you guys to miss anything. Let's see if we are there. I think we might be. And this is my, guys, I'm Amy from Seriously Sweet on Davis Street. I have a boutique bakery in downtown historic Culpeper. This is my friend Marlon from Montreal Confections. And if you guys follow us, you know we do a live stream every Tuesday called Cookie Therapy. So I asked her if she would be my moderator for tonight, and she graciously agreed. Hey, okay. Oh, so we're there. So we can start. You guys can see us. Everything is good. Because I don't want to leave the people in the real group hanging. So just somebody let me know if we're in the FCSA group.
What's it called? FC. I see it now. I'm going to go check myself.
All right, perfect. I think the comments are telling me, yes, we're on there. And Lisa from Maryland's on here with us. But thank you guys so much for coming. And I hope you've enjoyed the tutorials that they did today. Melinda, hey. Oh, Melinda is the head person for that. And she's on there. We're in. Thank you for grabbing it. I don't know what happened. The stream got disconnected.
Yeah, we're good.
And I'm not the technology guru. So at this point, to go back and add it back the way I normally would take us an hour. So anyway, hey, how is everyone?
Everybody's commenting. It's going fast. Okay. Hello.
So Marlon's going to take care of comments and questions. If I miss anything or we miss anything, we'll come back to you. There's a little ticker at the bottom that's got, you can watch it later. Don't worry about it now. Just housekeeping stuff. That's got all the places that you can follow me. Also, we prepared a document for you today. I've got it for you in my coffee shop. Totally free download, clickable links. It's everything you could possibly need to do this tutorial. And let's see. So Marlon, I think we should just do it like we normally do and pop up the questions if that's good. And
All right, if you guys have a question, type it. I'll interrupt Amy if
I'll try to watch for that as to be the thing if something's coming up, okay?
Okay, perfect. So, everybody's good. They're ready for it, Amy.
All right, well, let's go, guys. So this is a 3D hot air balloon cookie that the balloon is made from wafer paper. I channeled my inner kindergartner and decided that I would try wafer paper like paper mache. So I'm going to show you this cookie in multiple stages. I've got everything broken down. Some things are staged for, for live video. So we'll move faster than what this would normally take. This obviously would be a multiple day project because you do have to let this paper mache, the wafer paper balloon, it has to dry overnight. And Jeremy, I hope you like your surprise. This is for you. All right, so let's jump in and get started. You are going to be making, and on the supply list are all the cutters, but you're going to be making this. Let me go ahead and make my camera small too. Okay, Mar?
Yeah, that's it. We can't see.
Let's make that smaller. I'm going to move myself over here. If you have questions, pop them in. If we miss it, we'll come back.
Why don't you let us know where you guys are watching from?
Yeah, please, you guys. Stay up on all of that. Let's see, Mar, if I can get back to where I was now. Okay, good. There we go. So you're going to need 4 cookies that are shaped like this. The cutters are in the supply list. They're coming from Dots and Bows, and Katrina was so great to give us a discount code if you want to order from her. So if she or Carrie's on here, they can drop in some more info too. But this is a cutter that this shape I designed just to make this little basket cookies that looks like the 3D hot air balloon that you saw. Okay. So you're going to need 4 of these. You do not need a bottom. You just need 4 of these. I tend to make these 8 cookies at a time in case something breaks, to have 2 full baskets just in case. This is more of this is a cookie that you would not make probably to sell in a store, but for me, it's great because I get tired of cranking out a lot of cookies for sale, and I like to sometimes just do fancy projects. So I like to come back and do something every once in a while that really gives me the joy of cooking again. Does that make sense? We talk about that a lot, Mar, that it's fun to just bring other people into the world of cooking so that they can see the possibilities. So you need
to the dark side.
So we need 4 of these. And then you can use any kind of base that you want. You'll see in the photograph of the cookie that I just cut out a random shape. So I know 4 of these together is going to take about this much area. Just cut this out with the pizza cutter. Don't get too crazy about the bottom area. I'm going a little smaller tonight on my overall workspace because I didn't want to pipe too much grass tonight, just in case we ran out of time. I really wanted you to see everything. These straws are in here, right? What did he say? I'm
seeing a golf putting area.
I know. Well, I'll tell you why in just a second. So, I think on cookies like this, it's all about the details, right? So you have to make, I'll try to explain each thing as we go, but you have to make some decisions when you start a project like this about, do you want them to know it's a cookie or do you want them to be guessing if it's a cookie, right? Because that's kind of the beauty of one of these specialty projects. Like I get questions all the time, like, is that really a cookie? Is that all edible? How'd you do that? So that intrigues people and draws them into the cookie world. And I love that. So on this cookie, this is the shape. I just made sure I had enough room to put my basket, and I wanted a little field of sunflowers over here. These are just to give you some ideas. Okay. I want to first just step all the way back to the beginning. These larger cookies, even if you overbake them, they become very fragile, especially once you reintroduce the moisture from fresh royal icing to them. So even if you overbake them, you need to make sure you have a support. So I just take the cake boards, I put it on your supply list, the Wilton cake boards, just the little ones, and I cut them. I trace my cookie on top of the board, then I cut it out, make it a little bit smaller, and attach it with royal icing. So once everything is on here, this becomes quite heavy. I can lift it by just scooting up underneath and pulling it up, no problem. If you don't do that and you move that cookie while it's still wet, or if there's too much on top, you're going to break your project and then be really disappointed. So just to give you an idea, this is what I'm using to suspend my balloon. You definitely, and it's food safe paper, paper straw. You definitely could do this with a cake rod. It just depends, again, a decision you're going to have to make. Do you feel comfortable using a wood product with the cookie, or do you want it to be, you know, the paper? Do you want to use toothpicks? Do you want to introduce wire? So there's a lot of different ways that you could do this cookie. This is not the only way that you could do it. It's just to get you thinking and get you started. Okay. So I did use my straw when the cookie came out of the oven warm, and I basically just whittled it back and forth just like this and made the hole in the cookie, went straight down to the cake board. Okay. So this is just so that I keep that in mind, that that's where I want my basket to get centered. Okay. Hey guys, it's so nice to see all of you. Thank you for coming out tonight. Over here, I made the holes with, when it came out of the oven, just with a little paper straw to mark roughly where I wanted my sunflowers. Now, I'm not fussy about using paper straws or using the dowel rods because no one's going to eat this cookie. So in truth, what I found easier, because I've now recreated this project 3 times, was it was easier for me to use toothpicks. So the reason this already has some airbrush overspray is because I took my toothpicks, and these are the larger ones. Let me show you these. The extra long, so that you have plenty of room to adjust your height. So they have a flat top on the top part and they're pointy at the bottom. The reason I like that is because I don't actually need holes to put these into the cookie if I forgot to do this when I got started. This point is sharp enough on these that once this is a little bit damp from the royal icing, we're going to be able to easily position our sunflowers in here, okay? So just taking you through a little homework on planning for your cookie. So I love for them to be guessing. That's one of the things I really like about these kind of projects, is to keep them guessing on what it is. So this is just airbrushed, lightly airbrushed, and I linked some great airbrush colors for you in your supply list. Put it on a turntable, gave it a little airbrush, just so that I didn't kill another tree. A few more paper towels. I put my toothpicks right on top and did the spraying of those toothpicks. And you can see what a nice color I was able to get by spraying these toothpicks. That's just airbrush color on there, nothing else. That's it. These make great little pops for kids too. Now, you're also going to need to decide when you start this project, how big do you want your sunflowers to be? I prefer these little ones, but you can also make great big ones, right? You can do whatever you want. You can do different flowers. Just have some fun with this. And please, if you remake it, tag me. So we've started here. We have our base prepared. We've done a little bit of airbrushing here. For the purpose of keeping this moving fast, I do have a lot of the pieces done ahead of time, but we are going to take a minute and we're going to just go ahead and set this to the side. And we're going to talk about, we're going to go ahead and make our sunflower pops next. Okay. You 100% eat the cookie. Well, someone might actually, oh, you know what? No, let's jump on the balloon so we can have one partially set up for you. So guys, just a regular balloon, a party balloon. I tagged some for you that you can get on Amazon if you're not comfortable going out yet. These are 12-inch balloons. It is kind of important that you get the 12-inch balloon. 2 reasons. This is a little firmer material that we're going to be working on top of, versus little tiny water, the balloons you throw, Mar, help me here.
A water balloon.
Yes, like the little water balloon ones. Don't get those, but you can get a bag of these at the dollar store, $1. I would recommend you get a dark color. Having done this several times, if you put a lighter color under, it makes it a little hard to work on seeing how thick your wafer paper is. So these are just,
that's good.
This shows up, and I'll show you why in just a second, but let's just do one quick balloon. Can you see on the balloon that this one is really nice? There's no dimple, there's no seam, so it looks good. One thing all balloons are not equal. Don't use the gold ones or any of that. Just get this kind of balloon, a solid color with no metallic or anything to it, because the other ones end up with all those pieces, and every little ripple and dimple will show up in your balloon once it's dried. So take a look. This is, again, a planning. Make sure that balloon is going to be the proper size to be above the size cookie that you make. So if you resize this cookie, you have to resize your balloon. If you resize the balloon, you have to be prepared to have enough wafer paper on hand. So let me just show you how we did this. This is the hard part about this, so it is going to take us a couple minutes to get through it, and then you're going to really enjoy this. This honestly looks like a super complicated project, and I know we had a discussion last week about how we forget that we say things are easy, and maybe to other people they look like too complicated. I'm not even going to try it, but I promise you, if you break this down in steps, this is an easy project. Just do not be expecting to do it in 30 minutes. This cookie will teach you some patience. It's supposed to be art therapy, right? It's supposed to take you out of your current situation and take you to someplace pleasing and create something. So go with that in mind. You'll be perfectly fine. Now, another one of the dollar store finds, you guys know I love this, is these little champagne glasses. This is absolutely essential. Please don't pull out your wedding champagne glasses and break it and then blame me. Go to the dollar store, spend $1. If something happens, no one will care. Super important. You need a piece of parchment paper. This is just regular parchment paper. This is going to make your life so easy because when this wafer paper dries, if you do it directly to the glass, ask me how I know, it won't come off unless you re-wet it, and then you have to wait another day for everything to dry out. So basic little piece, this is not big. It's a little piece of parchment paper. I'm going around the glass. This will save you so much time in the long run. Totally worth it to spend the time to get this right. You can see what I'm doing, right? Here we go. This is it. Just hold it snug around the glass, tuck it in. That's all you need to do. Now, when your balloon is dried, you're going to lift this whole piece straight up off the glass. You'll be pulling the parchment paper out. You'll pop the balloon, pull the balloon straight out, and your balloon will be completely empty inside. It'll be literally just the wafer paper. So when I did this, the balloon that I'm going to show you in a minute that we've already started, just wash this off. Just in case some little kid gets a hold of that balloon and says, oh, this is going to be so fun, I'm going to eat paper, right? Because they can eat it. If they get a hold of it, you want whatever to touched it to have been clean when you started with this, okay? Hi, Jeremy. All right, so I'm going to move that to the side. Actually, let me show you something. This is going to be important. Set your balloon. I'm going to do this from the side so you can see it. Set your balloon right onto the glass. Set your glass upright. I'm going to try to do this from the side and just talk you through it. All right. I'm holding the balloon in the cup. Now, when I did this, I left it exactly like I have it positioned, but I'm going to turn it to show you what you need to accomplish. You need to take just a piece of tape, attach it to the balloon, take that tape right up to the rim of the glass and then down the parchment. And you need to do that in 4 places around the glass to secure the balloon. But obviously the stickiest part of the tape is to the balloon and the parchment, so that when you go to pull this parchment paper out and you want to pop the balloon and pull the balloon out, you'll be perfectly fine. Okay. All right. Are they having a good time, Mark? Because I see a lot of comments.
Well, I think they're visiting with each other, and
okay, good.
Yeah, Julie was wondering, so once the balloon is out, this is edible?
Yeah, it's totally edible. And we're going to do another favorite Amy thing, and we're going to attach it with candy. So you're going to have candy, balloon basket weights, and we're going to use that fun licorice candy.
Well, Jennifer wants glitter.
Well, you can glitter your balloon. We'll discuss that in a second, but let's come back to this real quick. So this is how our wafer paper starts getting attached to our balloon, okay? So let me show you a couple of things. This is the plain balloon. This is one layer of wafer paper. So can you see that this is great with the color underneath it so you can tell how thick it is?
Yes,
This is the second one going around, right? That's good. So let me show you how to cut your paper. And this is the paper that I use, guys. I linked it in the supply list. Just if you buy the big bag like I buy, just make sure you keep it in an airtight container. This is the Oasis supply. It's a 100-pack of O grade 8x11. I love this stuff. Textured on one side, smooth on the other side. You know, it's awesome. So remember I told you that you needed to account for the size of your balloon. So we did this balloon, right? You need to make sure before you start cutting your wafer paper that your wafer paper will cover from the middle of the top of the balloon to basically the base of the balloon. So if you make your balloon super big, there's a chance you're going to have to turn your paper this way. So you will not get as many strips out of it. You understand what I'm saying? Hit me up with questions if you don't understand that, okay? We're going to go with it sideways. We're going to take 6 pieces. So easy. You don't even need scissors. You're going to fold it in half. Then you're going to third it. Is this showing up okay on camera, Mar?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I'll
so
take off here.
You're going to third it just like this. Let's pull this into or separate it rather. It's just pulling it. You don't even have to cut it. It doesn't matter that it's rough. You cannot tell once it's on the balloon. I've already tested all this. So turn it with your textured side up, right? Because that is important. You don't want a shiny side next to the textured side when it's on the balloon. And I like the rough look of the texture side, how it receives the airbrush color. It did take the color a little bit better, I felt like. So just that one paper gave me 6 strips. Now think about kindergarten, first grade, when you did a lot of paper mache. I'm sure if you're from the United States, everybody kind of did it, right? We all made paper mache animals, just crazy stuff out of newspaper, and that horrible flour and water mixture, right? You remember that? So what we're going to do with these strips, do you remember that you get a lot of extra here and you get a lot of extra at the top, right? Can you see that? Okay. The other thing, you want to make sure to cut a couple of little circles when you first start your balloon. On your naked balloon, you want to position those right at the top, a couple layers, because if you're going to use a wooden dowel rod and then you're going to set this balloon on top of that to position it above your cookie basket, you want to make sure that there's no chance that dowel rod is going to pop through your balloon, but you want these circles will be hidden under what we're about to do next, okay? That makes sense? And am I okay on time, talking too fast? Or
22, you're at 22 minutes.
Oh, good. Okay, we've got plenty of time because this is the longest part of the demo. Everything else is really prepped. I'm going to show you some piping skills. We're going to talk about basket weave.
So
We're going to
easy.
assemble it. Huh?
So easy.
So easy. Okay, so my scissors. You guys know I'm famous for losing things even in my 3-foot area. Do you remember I pointed out to you that you'll have a lot at the top and a lot at the bottom? So in your strip, make a little incision mark, cut mark, whatever you want to call it, at the middle of the top and the bottom of your wafer paper. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't make this complicated. Don't overthink it. Start cutting here with a curve that takes you to the outside edge about halfway up, and then start curving back from that outside edge to the middle of the top. Okay? It's not complicated.
Like the sections of a beach ball.
Exactly. And they don't have to match. So seriously, don't overthink this. Remember, it's supposed to be fun.
So Nicole, she only put a round at the top because at the bottom there's a hole. So she's only got them at the top.
Yeah, and it's going to be open at the bottom. This is what your finished balloon will look like, okay? And I even did something fun. You know, I don't like to show you the mistakes. Blooper reels are one thing because they're funny, but I don't like to typically show when something doesn't turn out when I first started. I like to take it behind my store and open the garbage cans that line the walls back there for all of us. And then we have a sale at party and the mistakes get thrown into the garbage can. So they still get their own little rite of celebration. But I am going to show you what's going to happen if you are not patient. But give me 1 minute. Let's jump back over here. Now, this is how easy this is. Please, I promise you, don't overthink this. But this is also a cookie you have to commit to when you're making this balloon, because if you've ever worked with wafer paper, you know it gets immensely sticky, okay? So watch. This is the little sprayer that I use with distilled water that I thin my icing with, okay? Nothing complicated. It's just a little Mr. Sprayer. Don't need anything else fancy for this, I promise you. Hey, Firefly. So one side quickly, second side quickly. I'm working over a paper towel. It cannot sit there or it will stick. Let's pull our glass in and turn it to the side so you can see. These meet up in the middle. Do you see how they're overlapping? Because when this project's done, you need 2 layers. It needs to be 2 layers thick, and then it'll come right off and you won't have any problems. So now we're 1 layer working halfway back as we do our pieces. And I'm showing you from the side. Normally I would just have it upright and be attaching it, and I'll do that in a minute. But let me show you one more from the side. Holding my strip. It's kind of like wet pasta. Halfway. Okay, and I got to get up to the middle. While it's wet, you see I'm just tapping it with my glove. My glove is wet. If my glove is not wet enough, just spritz it a little bit more. Don't try to pull this back off. It'll rip your balloon.
Mm-hmm.
And you see all these little bits and bubbles. You're not going to see that when it's done. So let me show you a couple more quickly so the whole balloon's covered.
Why distilled water? Julie wants to know.
Why do I use distilled water?
Uh-huh.
The tap water in our town is horrible.
Oh, okay.
I don't bake with the water in our town either, even though it's supposedly filtered and passed all the tests. I just, I don't like the smell of it. Okay, so you see now we're fully around one time. While this is still wet, I would go one more full round. But before I go the full round, I'm going to take one of those. Look, Mara, I already lost it.
What did you lose?
Those little circles.
Oh, maybe they're stuck underneath something.
I don't know where I put them. Oh, here they are. I'm famous for this, guys. You should really watch Tuesday. It's fun. It's all fun all day. All right. So here we go. So one more before I start my second round. And remember, this is just my reinforcement because I don't want my whatever support I'm using to hold up my balloon. I don't want it to burst through. Okay. So 2 rounds. You'll still see just the slightest bit of black through the balloon. But if you leave this overnight, and don't get excited at 12 hours if you do this first thing in the morning and you come back that evening and you go, oh, maybe it's done. It's not done. Let me show you what's going to happen if you are not patient. And if you're one of those people that wants to put 5 or 6 layers because you can still see the balloon underneath and you're thinking kid paper mache, it's not necessary. But if you want to do it, do it. It's not necessary. It's a big waste on the paper. But look what happens if you pull out your balloon thinking it's dry and it's not fully dry. Can you see how badly it dimpled? It looks like a balloon that the gas cut off and the whole thing's crashing to the ground. Can you see it? Is that showing up okay?
Well, I think that's what happens with actual papier-mâché as well when you don't wait.
It does. But don't worry. If you do this, just go back and redo it. This is just 2 layers, but it was pulled out at 12 hours. It's not dry enough. So, but listen, this is so hard when it's done. So this is not going to go anywhere. Just trust me when I tell you 2 to 3 layers. You don't need more. Double up your stripes. Now, all I did with this is I put this back on my champagne glass. Now, this one's not going to work because I used a different glass, but I put it back on my glass. I went straight out the back of the store with my cordless airbrush gun. I used bright yellow because I wanted super springtime looking. And I had this in my hand on the glass, and I just sprayed as I rotated. Okay, that's it. I went outside and did the whole thing. If you can't do that because you do this at a time of year where it's just too cold or it's raining or whatever, you'll save yourself a lot of cleanup if you will take a large cardboard box, put it together, cut out one side, hold your item in that box and spray in the box. It'll catch all of your overspray. Also, for everyone that knows I like to glitter, this is a new share. That is usually what I do when I glitter cupcakes or glitter a cake. I put it into something that will catch it. And then I do all the glitter and have it on a cake turntable and spin it because otherwise it's hours of cleanup. You know that it goes everywhere. So this is my airbrushed balloon. This one, I rolled the edge up. I got a little fancy with it. This one, I cut it off and leveled it off on the bottom. So this will be done. You don't want to put your holes in it until it's done. I have a little cordless drill at my store, and I have drill bits that I only use when I'm doing certain projects for food. I'm going to show you how to do this with scissors in case that's not the case, because you don't want to mix non-food tool items with food tool items, okay? So you would just sit here with your scissors, and you would basically just whittle this until you have a hole through the balloon, okay? That's all you have to do. Make 4 holes. You'll make 2 here and 2 here. because you want the ropes to come down and meet up with your basket.
Mm-hmm.
Now we are 30 minutes in, so we're going to scoot on. There's a lot of different ways you can decorate this. You could hand paint this. Don't introduce too much moisture to it though, or you're going to have a collapsed balloon. So if you're going to do a whole bunch of fancy hand painting, you may want to do your hand painting before you pop the balloon and pull it out. Because literally, once you take it off, you'll take the paper out. You'll pull the parchment paper out. The tape will be tugging on the balloon. Pop that balloon with just a pair of scissors. The whole balloon will start to pull away from the dried wafer paper. And then this whole thing is actually totally edible if someone gets a hold of it, okay? And little kids seem to really like the idea that they can eat paper. I don't know what's fascinating about it, but they love it. So just know that's probably going to happen. All right, let's do some sunflowers.
So Alyssa is asking, when you did that little lip there that's rolled.
Yes, while it was wet, let me show you on this one. Hopefully this won't fall off. While it was wet, I just began to roll it up until I made that cool little edge. I just wanted it to be a little fancier because I figured out something with the candy. So I do like that. All right, so let's swap over really quick. What we're doing right now, guys, is typically how my brain works is everything is prepped and then the cookie comes together fast. So we're going to swap over really quick and we're going to make our sunflower pops. So this is a finished sunflower pop cookie. And it's basically a 1-inch circle. And then the tip is listed for you. I'm going to show you how to pipe this real quick, a fast way to do it. This is a dark center with black nonpareils. Then we've got our same piping tip we used to do our sunflower leaves. We used to do our petals rather. We used to do the leaves. Super easy. I wanted to take it down and see if they were just as cute in a miniature size since I was doing a smaller basket for this cookie. So we already talked about, in case you're jumping in late, we already talked about using the toothpick and about airbrushing it with the same color as the color you're using to do your grass and to do the edge of your platform, okay? So we're going to jump in and do this. I don't bake with the wood in them because I don't feel comfortable. I don't mind using toothpicks, but I'm not comfortable with any chemical maybe transferring from the toothpick to the cookie during the heating process, which is when most things happen. So I made these itty bitty buttons. These are like little 1/2 inch. It's the cookie cutter that I linked for you in your supply list. So I've got this. When it first came out of the oven, I literally just grabbed a hold of them and worked my toothpick in, okay? So these are just little knobs. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to add in the ones that I painted, okay? And we're going to start with that. And we're going to do one really quick. They're not hard to do. They really, I promise you, are not hard to do. I love my bead tray in case I need to pour, but in this case, we won't be pouring anything. So I'm going to flip the top off here. I always keep a stash of paper towels to the side because you always need to purge the tip of your icing bags. Everybody seems to be really up to date on what we're doing, so we're not going to stop to talk about trimming bags or using tipless bags. We have other videos online if you want to see that, if that's a question for you. This is a toothpaste consistency icing, and we're going to cover the whole top of this. And I'm using black because I'm using black nonpareils. And go ahead, Jeremy, type that in the comments.
He had to attend to his fatherly duties. He was called by his many
with his kids.
Yes.
I'm so glad he made it though. Okay, so we have this on the top, and Jennifer's here too. I'm glad. I'm just dipping it into these. You could put this down here and pour over, but what I found, do you see how nicely those attach? And I have that beautiful sunflower center. Nonpareils, thank you, Jennifer. All right, and then for this project, I did go ahead and use the tip. It's linked in your supply list. This is the one I call bird beak. It's a 67, I think. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is the, what is this one, Mara? I can't see it.
I don't know the numbers. Some people remember all the numbers. I barely remember my name. I don't remember.
You could do this one, though, without the tip by just cutting it like a little bird beak, okay? If you want to use tipless bags and you really don't want to do that. So I've had used my icing earlier, but I kept it wrapped in a wet paper towel. Handy tip for you because you don't want to be putting a sharp object back up into one of these metal tips. especially if you're used to doing a lot of fine detail work and that's important. Yeah, that's it, Karen. That's the right one. If you don't want to put a sharp object up here and then scratch the inside of these tips, they're expensive. It could make your icing curl, so I just try not to do that. So when I'm working in a project and I have to set something down, I just put a wet paper towel around it. Now let me get up here so you can see.
Oh, Karen was asking where to get those black nonpareils. She has a supply list. I have it up here. That's where you get her everything's listed in her supply list. If you want to go and download that, it's free.
And Michael's is the cheapest place. Go buy a bag for $1. Make sure you like them. But this brand is good. They don't color bleed, okay? So they won't affect a project. Now, can you guys see how roughly I'm getting this? This is a really great tip to do leaves, but it also does great petals. You just have to do that little, can you see that bouncing? So that I'm getting that nice definition. That's really all that's involved. Pop this in the dehydrator. You could leave it just like this and you could be done. These would be like bite-sized cookies for people, right? These, you could make a whole field of these as a separate cookie. So pipe 1 row if you want to. You could be done. So it depends on how much time you want to put in. Let me show you the ones I did earlier. This is 3 levels of petals. So this is the level that I just piped, this center. Then once it had been in the dehydrator about 5 minutes, I pulled it out and I was able to do this nice top level and this back level. So you see just that little bit of detail, how much up that cookie is right there. Now, I tell you guys this during class on Tuesdays during the cookie therapy, but I like to use 1 bag and keep using it for everything if I have to switch colors. So this is the green that we're going to be using. I made it a really bright spring green like the grass is when it first comes out. If I were holding this next to this, I want to cut enough of this bag off that I can slide this bag into this bag, right? And just switch tips instead of having to use a coupler and all that. But I need to cut enough off that it will still slip into the tip so this outer bag doesn't get messy, but so that it doesn't block the output area, okay? So I'm going to cut right about here. We still okay, Mark?
So your consistency on your yellow icing?
Toothpaste consistency.
And is this the same now, the green?
This is toothpaste as well. Most everything today is toothpaste. I literally think I had no flood icing for this project. Everything's toothpaste. Oops, let me move that before. That's how I ended up dyeing my hands earlier. I stuck it right in the black when I was working with thickening it up for the sunflowers. All right. I don't like messy work areas. I don't mind if it's around me, but the space that I'm looking at has to stay clean. Is that crazy?
Well, not really crazy.
So we're going to purge the tip and the green's going to push out the yellow. So you just want to purge it. If I'm doing a big project, I put that extra icing into a bowl because then I just save all that, throw it in the freezer, and it becomes base for black later. So can you see what I'm doing here? I'm just going back and adding a few leaves. I'm using the same outer bag. I'm using the same petal. I just changed up my color, but look at the difference.
So Amy, when they're drying, do you rest them on parchment paper? Because
the icing is so thick that it doesn't move. I put them, let me show you actually what I do, because if you want to make a whole bunch, this will be super helpful for you. Let me just show you. It's just, I'm a big press and seal fan too. I think you guys know that. This is just a cake, a styrofoam. It looks like a dome cake piece, right? This is a floral styrofoam piece, really. And I've covered it in press and seal because you can see underneath how I started spraying gold unicorn pieces on here. And then I realized, oh, I'm not going to be able to keep reusing this. So I cover it every time in press and seal now. So that's all, that's it. And it's going to stay. That icing is the consistency. It's not going to move. I just leave them on here and I leave them to dry. That's it.
Okay. So it's a little like if you were making toothpick roses type thing.
Yes. Yes. They should not move. Hey, Cameo. Oh, hey, Tammy. So my sister's here. I've got some good friends on here with me. I appreciate you guys coming to support us tonight. Okay. So now we have our base. We have our base prepped. Remember, we airbrushed it. It's attached to a nice piece of cake board so that we're going to be able to lift it. We've planned out where we want to put everything. Yesterday, we made our balloon and it dried. We airbrushed it a few hours ago. It's been sitting, right? We've planned all of our color schemes so that this is going to look really pow and powerful when it's done. It's going to pop. Now we're going to swap over and we're going to talk about these cookies. This is critical when you're doing a 3D cookie. This is a microplaner. This is from the dollar store. I linked a more expensive, totally stainless steel one for you in your supply list. I prefer these because I sometimes break them and I don't want to throw out a $12 tool. I'd much prefer to throw out a $1 tool. Just saying. And this, I also love this one. As you can see, it's flat. So this is great, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we just want to sharpen up the sides on our basket before we do our basket weave. Now, just because I know you guys want to see a little bit of airbrushing, I am going to airbrush this one cookie before, because I need to show you a couple of things so that you can make a decision in your planning process. Mar, are we still okay on time and questions?
We're at 40 minutes.
Oh, I'm good. We're good.
And everybody's enjoying it.
Okay, good deal. So pull over your little turntable. I've linked one of these for you too, but I know everybody has their favorites. Put your cookie on here. Make sure you charge this before you started. Everybody's going to ask questions about airbrush guns. I'll just defer you to another video about that. I have to say this is my favorite. It was $50. It's cordless. I have cords all around me here today. So one less cord is great for me. 2 or 3 drops in here. When you buy an airbrush, I would highly recommend, though, that you get one that's silver and not black. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to see the color once it's in there, and you'll use too much. So, well, let's do this, because if I don't, it's going to get all over me, and it'll bother me when I do this later. It's very hard to get off, right? So let's put one glove on. What I want to do is I want to airbrush. Is the sound bothering anybody? Is it too loud?
The wireless doesn't make a lot of sound, I find.
Okay. I can hear it. I just don't know if it bothers you. But I don't want these edges to show because, again, I want them to be guessing, is that really a cookie? Right? It's kind of the magic of it when you put up a showpiece. Is it really cookie? How'd they make that? It just draws their attention to it.
Is it a burnt cookie?
Yeah, right. So I'm just making this dark because we're going to be doing a basket weave and a tan color, and I don't want this light blonde color to show through. So I'm just going to roughly hit the top. You don't need to soak this. Doesn't need to be saturated. If you have trouble with your airbrush gun, make yourself a shield by holding up the paper towel. I do the inside of the basket too, because you're going to see that. You guys, on my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, I have a great video up from last Christmas where I made a 3D fireplace. I go all through doing this kind of coloring. I'm not going to get up right now to rinse this out. So I'm using my, again, distilled water, right? That's all we want to put through our airbrush guns. I'm going to put some water in there so that I don't have any trouble with my gun, and I'll take care of it after we get done today. So this is what you're going to do to your 4 cookie pieces. You've straightened them up with your microplaner, right? Just sharpened them up a little bit. You've darkened the edges pretty dark, and then a light dusting on your 2 sides of the cookie. Then let's pop this out of the way. I'm going to move this cookie to the side because earlier I made these. Now, we're going to get to this point, but I want to quickly show you how to do this basket weave. This is my favorite way to do basket weave. And Mar, I think I might have learned this from you last year, because I used to do basket weave differently, but I think I changed it after we talked about basket weave and after I watched one being done. So let's pull this over and see. You tell me if this is where I got this from or not, because I want to give you proper credit. Mara is a great teacher. She's an awesome friend, but she's also a great teacher. So if you need any questions, she is super helpful.
I just want to answer Karen. She's just using distilled water because of the water in her area. She's not using it for any other reason. So don't think you need to run out and get distilled water if your tap water's fine.
Yeah, if your tap water is fine and you have a filter and all that, I just really don't enjoy our water. Okay, so think about your project again. Break this down. I want to show you how I started this basket weave. I used to have a lot of trouble with getting it to line up, and I need this to line up because we're going to be matching up these sides and we're going to finish the corners. So that's why this is important, okay? We're going to find the center and we're going to put down a line. I prefer to put this because it looks more like an original I found pictures of historic hot air balloons when they hand wove the baskets, and they were made out of different kinds of vine and wood. And they actually, up those antique pictures, actually have the pieces of vinery and wood that are circular like this. Instead of doing a crisscross pattern with this wide plank, this is more like a Longenberger basket would look, right? Where you'd use the same size pieces going up and down. I like the look of this just because it was something that I found in some pictures. I enjoyed it, so that's how I've always done it. You are free to do it the other way if you prefer it. I start in the middle because then visually when I look at the cookie, it's pleasing to me. I also start at the top because the bottom of the cookie is going to get wedged into some grass. Now, we are going to just weave over. I'm going to show you how to do this, and then we're going to move on. Measure for an empty space, do another piece. Measure for an empty space, do another piece, okay? Then you come right back with your rounded tip, and this is a 3. Line up right across here. And that way you can do 2 sides at one time, okay?
Yeah, this looks familiar.
Is this yours? I know I learned this from somebody in the last year because I used to do this part differently. And
well, everybody always goes like right to left, right? They don't start from the center.
Yeah, and when I started really getting infatuated with 3D cookies, I really had to make things visually pleasing. So you get this idea, repeat the pattern, go to the edges. Due to the magic of television and the fact that it's 6:46, we're going to pop on over to assembling this cookie now so that you have all of the basic details on how to accomplish this. Let's pull our center into place. I have another bag with the little grass tip. This is how easy this is, you guys. Pipe the grass, and I'm going to do the area where the basket's going to be, and I'm going to pipe it fast. So you can take your time if you want this to be perfected. Toothpaste consistency icing.
You're a little low.
A little low in my picture. How's that? Yeah. Is that better? Okay. So this does not need to be perfect because it's going to be in the center of the basket. I want to make sure I show you how to assemble that. And if I run out of time, I promise I'll come back with a recorded video for anything I miss. So this is what that would look like, okay? Then just for the sake of going quickly, we're going to put a little area over here. Just put a little bit of grass. I would do the grass on the majority of the cookie to start with. All right, I'm going to pull in my, where did I do with that little flower? Okay, here's my little flower. So remember I said to keep the pointed tip down. I've now reintroduced a little bit of icing to this cookie. I'm going to go ahead and I can set my sunflower. Do you see how easy? I'm just basically rocking it back and forth. It's right down into the cookie. Once that grass hardens, your little sunflower field isn't going anywhere. Let's come back over here to your basket and put your basket together. We're just attaching it down in the grass. Okay. And if you see that you don't have enough down, just quickly go back and add a little bit more grass over here because you just need this to act, you know, like a little caulking area that you're dropping everything into. And it's important that your 2 sides, do you see how I've pulled these together here? And then on the back, I'm going to have this area here. That grass is going to hold it together to where you don't need to actually put anything in the crevices coming up the basket. And there's no other weight that's going to get attached to your basket. So you'll be perfectly fine to stop here if you want to. I'll leave that up to you what you want to do. I'm going to come back with my basket weave, and I'm going to do this later. I'm not going to be able to do it now, but I'll finish this one and post it. What I'm going to do is come back, and you see how my basket weave is lining up? I'm just going to come from over here where I left that space open, connect over here. It's going to look like a fully wrapped basket when I'm done. Then I'll take a little star tip. And what I'm going to do for the star tip is I'm just going to make a little rope right around the top of this basket so that it looks just like a basket where it's woven and looped around. All right, hold on. Let me grab a paper towel. All right, we have about 6 minutes. So now we're going to talk through assembling this. In the center, do you remember I marked a space for my balloon to sit? So then I'll go back and drop that in. Here's my finished balloon. It literally just sits on here, which is why I was talking about we didn't want it to fall out. But let's talk about the balloon really quick. I've used a little thing of licorice laces. These aren't fancy. You can get them online. You can get them at a grocery store. It depends on if your store has them or not. And I used fruit slices because I wanted a fun summertime theme. Again, not super fancy. It's just these cool fruit pieces. Everyone has them. I use them on cupcakes in the summer. And I assembled them by just running the lace through the fruit pieces to make my basket weights. So if I wanted to, right in here, just for the sake of time right now, I'm going to add a little icing up the side to just keep my basket together. The only thing I did to assemble this, you guys, was I ran this extra little bit of icing in here.
So Amy, the balloon is really obstructing our view.
Right, can you see there?
Yeah.
So I just ran a little bit of icing in the corners, and I took my balloon weights, and you can do 1, 3, whatever. Just take into consideration that they are going to be a little bit heavy. On the end, just take this little bit of the lace, and you want to tuck it right in here like this, and just let it hang off on your cookie. Okay, can you see that? Okay. And that's it. That's how you make your balloon weights. I'm going to pull it off because I want to do my rope first, and we need to keep moving. So for my balloon, what I did was I cut 4 separate strands of lace, and I knotted the end. Literally, you just do that with your hand. Okay. I made those holes that I told you about earlier. I threaded my lace into my balloon and just gently pulled on it to get my strings. Now we're going to go into like super speed talking mode here.
Is there a tutorial after you?
Yes. There are 2. Hold on one sec. Is that the right one?
So this will be available for replay on your page.
All right. How did an hour go so fast?
Amy, this is going to be available for replay on your
page. Yes, definitely. So guys, I just ran my candy through these holes, and I have that knot. I think I bought additional candy, and I think it's wider than my first run. So if you run into that problem, scissors and a little back and forth motion will shave that hole just a smidge bigger. Okay. Then take your candy, and you're running the unknotted end through. Okay. Let me see if I can move this a little so you can see. All right. And we're pulling that through to the knot. You'll do all 4 of those. So you get the idea of what you're going to do there, right? Set it on top of your support rod, whatever you choose to use. Mine's green, so it blends in with the grass. Then all you do is measure these. Let me try to show you from the side. I measure down to the basket and pinch or cut this little bit off. Okay. And I'm just going to tuck that in to the icing we just did where the balloon weight is. Let me see if I can tip it so you get the general idea. I need a third camera, Mar. So see it just.
You do? That's what I was
thinking. I need a side view.
Something you need to film like from 2 angles.
Yes, we'll be doing that for you. I'll feel better about it. So that is basically how you attach it. Now, I went super speed, and yes, this is a couple of day project, but you so absolutely could come back and you could do this project. Just fall in love with cookies. It will change your life. I promise you. It is such a relaxing experience to sit down and create things like this. If your side hustle becomes so frustrating that it becomes a difficult thing for you and you're not enjoying it, take time, get online, teach a tutorial, but do a fun project that's something that you really enjoy. Now, I'm hoping that a friend of mine that does weddings is going to be interested in these for a wedding that she's going to be doing, because I've already thought of a way to make this super miniature so that it can be on a table, and this bit can be filled with little candies at each table. So I've already worked on that for something too. So you may see this again in the future. Now, you've seen a picture of the finished cookies. We have just a couple of minutes. We're going to stop there for today. If there's any part that you don't feel like I explained well, drop it in those comments. I'll go back and take you a little video and pop it in here. But I'm sure you're going to see this as a full-length tutorial soon, because I made enough bits to totally refilm this without me doing all the talking. so that you could speed through it if you wanted to. So that will be coming to you guys soon too. You seeing any questions over there, Mar? Are we okay?
No, everybody's saying everybody's loving it. You'll see when you go back and read the comments, everybody's just loving your project. I think you touched on everything. This is super fast and abbreviated, but they get the gist, I think.
That is awesome. Well, did everybody put over in the comments? I had asked on my page for them to drop in the comments where they were from, if you have time.
Oh, they did earlier, but if you want, we'll wrap it up that way.
Okay.
The comments always help the live stream, guys. So if you want to.
Yes. And if you want, share this. I would love that. But make sure you like us on the Seriously Sweet page too, because I would love to send you text alerts so we can let you know in case you're not getting your Facebook alerts. We would love for you to get text alerts before we go live on Tuesdays. On Tuesdays, we do more simpler projects, I guess, right, Mar? Maybe not a 3D, but we do fancy things, but it's split where Mar does half and I do half. So you always get 2 for 1. And it's so much fun and we enjoy hanging out with you. It's been just great time getting to know everybody. And we are so happy that you tuned in for this. So any questions? Did we miss anything?
Everybody's just saying fantastic. They love it. It's so cute. I mean, it's like just compliments, Amy.
All right. I want to give a shout out to the to Melinda specifically, but I know she has a whole crew helping her. Thank you so much for this event. This was a great time today, and I have enjoyed every one of the tutorials. I've learned something from all of them. So, you know, when you teach, you have to keep taking in too. You have to keep learning. So thank you for a cookie community and a page that shares, that they give back to each other. So please don't forget to go over to my coffee shop and download your free supply list. The clickable links, all of that's there for you. You can see some other stuff on there too, but make sure you go get that free download, okay? All right.
Thanks, everybody.
And we're going to sign off because it's 3 minutes till, and I think Monica is next. So we're going to sign off, and I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much. And Mar, thank you so much for moderating tonight. That helped. I don't think I could have kept up with that.
No problem. My pleasure. Bye, everybody. See you guys Tuesday.
Bye, guys.
Bye.